Honorable the Chief Justice, Mr. Justice S. Manikumar, Honorable Justice Hariprasad, A. Hariprasad, Honorable Judges, President of the Kerala High Court Resolution, Thomas Abraham, Chairman of the Kerala Bar Council, Mr. Joseph John, Senior Standing Counsel for Company and Taxes, Mr. Kirendra, President and Kerala Federation of Women Lawyers, Mr. S. K. Devi, Law Officers of Central and State Governments, esteemed members of the Bar, Registrar General and the Registrar, and members of the staff of the High Court, members of the Office of the Attorney General, President and members of the Kerala High Court Educational Association, wife of Mr. Justice A. Hariprasad, Srimati Prabha Hariprasad, and other dignitaries present. We have assembled here to bid farewell to Honorable Mr. Justice A. Hariprasad, who is laying down office as a judge of the High Court on superannuation. Now he is leaving us, carving out a cherished memories of glittering and luminous image of an erudite and accomplished judge. It is said parting is always painful, more so when it is the person whom we love, respect and adore most. In his exit, this great constitutional institution is losing the service of one of the most eminent and versatile judges who, by his exceptional legal acumen, visionary zeal, has brought added glory and fame to this prestigious seat of justice. It is no doubt that it will take many more years to fill the void created by his party. Justice Hariprasad was born on 1959 at Peruvemba in Palakkad district, and to late T.U. Unni and late Narayana Vairasya. After graduating in law from the Government Law College Kozhikode with second rank, he started his legal practice in 1983 at Tirur in Malappuram district under his maternal uncle, late A. Vijayaraghav Vairiyar, the then Doyen of the Bar. After about 13 years of practice in various courts in Malappuram district, he was directly recruited to the Kerala Higher Judicial Service as District and Session Judge. In his long 18 years judicial career in the subordinate judiciary, he had served as additional district and session judge at Palakkad, Thalassery, Ernakulam, and Kozhikode for various durations, and as principal district and session judge at Ernakulam from 1940 to 2012 to 27 on 2013. During his period in his higher judicial service, he was also appointed as Director of Kerala Judicial Academy on 2/12/2004 and as Registrar of Subordinate Judiciary, High Court of Kerala on 1/4/16/2010. It was while holding the post of Principal District Judge Ernakulam, Mr. Justice Hariprasad was appointed as additional judge in this Honorable Court on 28 January 2013 and as permanent judge with effect from 30/6/2014. Now more than 8 years and a quarter have rolled by since his appointment as a judge in the Honorable Court. Suffice to say, eventful and epoch-making was his judicial functioning throughout this period. It saw the emergence of a unique legal personality of our time, dawned in the robes of a judge. Many are the scholarly and law-leading judgments delivered by him while adorning the judicial throne of this temple of justice that find their place in the pages of the law reports, which will remain priceless treasures for future generations and posterity. The decision of the full bench case in Brajesh Kumar M. and others versus State of Kerala and others, dealing with the issue of scope and powers of Guruvayur Devasam Managing Committee Administration and Commissioner under the Guruvayur Devasam Act with regard to the management and administration of Devasam funds reported in 2021 HKC 51 judgment in the case of State of Kerala versus Madhu reported in 2021 1 KHC 351, setting aside the trial court judgment acquitting the accused in the matter of suicide of 2 minor girls who were victims of sexual assault, sharply criticizing the perfectory investigation and cursory and desultory and unskilled prosecution, coupled with the lack of involvement of trial judge resulting in miscarriage of justice judgment in the case of Karunanidhi K. and another versus State of Kerala and others reported in 2022 KHC 2 dealing with the power and authority of the officers who work in the EACD under the Police Act, etc., are only few of such decisions. Blessed with sharp intellect, tuned and tempered by deep learning, wider vision, and intense awareness of social problems and situations, he was cast in a perfect mold as a judge. The benign and benevolent qualities of hidden heart harmoniously fused on him to form a perfect human being as well. The pathetic fact that even after decades of adoption of the Constitution, the goal of equality of status and of opportunity enshrined in the preamble of the Constitution still a mirage to a large section of the people, as the richest continue to become rich, all the more while poor are groaning under the miseries always pain him. As a judicial functionary, he was ever anxious to protect the constitutional guaranteed rights of citizens and persons, like right to life, personal liberty, right to freedom, right to free speech, right against exploitation, etc. And when matters involving such issues cropped up in cases that came up before him, the amazing expertise he exhibited in resolving such issues in accordance with the Constitutional ethos, philosophy, and mandates is commendable. Gravell against in his book, The Indian Constitution, Cornerstone of a Nation, writes that the Indian Constitution sought to bring about a social revolution, while at the same time trying to preserve national unity and stability. Several radical legislations enacted were framed by the central state legislatures of this country aimed at materializing such social revolution as visualized by the Constitution, and Justice Hariprasad firmly believed that in interpreting and implementing such legislations, the judiciary has a decisive role to play. In his autobiography, Rose in December, M.C. Chakla has said, as a legal concept, secularism means equality for law, but in my opinion, secularism is much more than that. Secularism is an attitude of mind and quality of the heart. For Justice Hariprasad too, secularism is an attitude of the mind and quality of the heart. Integrity and impartiality in the two sublime virtues a judge should possess more than anything else he carried in his being into their perfection. The benevolent and sublime virtues of love, compassion, mercy, consideration for the poor and the weak were qualities passionately held by him close to his heart, which had his reflections in the performance of his judicial functions. Calm, quiet, and soft-spoken, his radiant personality harbored in his being all the great virtues and qualities a worthy human being should possess in abundance. What should be the guiding principle of a worthy life of fulfillment and glory has been succinctly depicted in Bhagavad Gita. The verse in the celestial songs goes, Karmani Madhigaraste Mahaleshu Kadajana. The sacred advice found its full and absolute acceptance in the life of Justice Hariprasad. His devotion to duty was phenomenal. Truth was his first article of his faith, and honesty his concomitant corollary. His behavior and approach to people were very cordial and pleasant. Like the morning dew, it was soothing and inspiring. Truth and sincerity always reflected in his personality in all this spectral splendor, and that made him one of the apt persons carved out for the post of a judge in the Constitutional Court. Today, when Mr. Hariprasad is demitting office on superannuation, this Honorable Court, the entire lawyer community, and the people of the state are losing the services of a legal luminary, a dynamic and conscious judge, always dispassionately dispensing justice according to law, without fear and favor, affection or ill will. My Lord, Mr. Justice Hariprasad, in these moments of parting, we honor you with all our hearts and extend you the warmest of our good wishes for many more years of prolific, fruitful and creative life engaged in the services of this country and the people. At this juncture, I, on behalf of the loyal fraternity of the state and my own behalf, bid you farewell and wish you many more years of happy and creative and fruitful life. Wife Mr. Justice Hariprasad, Srimati Prabha Hariprasad, he is happily with us today. At this moment, we wish her also well. Thank you.
Honorable Chief Justice Mr. Justice Manikumar, Honorable Mr. Justice Hariprasad, other Honorable Judges, Mrs. Prabha Hariprasad, Sri Advocate General Mr. C.P. Sudha Hariprasad, Sri Joseph John, Chairman Bar Council of Kerala, Assistant Solicitor General Mr. P. Vijay Kumar, State Attorney Mr. K.V. Sohan, respected other members of the fraternity, Registrar General and other officers of this court, advocate clerks and their friends. While preparing a speech for an occasion like this, one naturally makes an effort to find out the most lustrous aspect of the personality of the retiring judge to highlight the same. I am confronted with no confusion. Humility and simplicity are the conspicuous virtues of His Lordship's character, both inside and outside the court. His Lordship's affable manners and unassuming nature makes one feel that His Lordship is somebody very close and dear to you. This indeed is an exceptional quality which can be possessed only by persons with a noble mind. We had a meeting yesterday afternoon in the physical meeting of the High Court Administrative Committee to discuss the present e-filing rules issue. I wanted to exchange all the pleasant feelings this bar has about him after the meeting. But unfortunately, for some reason, His Lordship had to leave the meeting a bit early, and in the thick of the discussions, I could not meet His Lordship personally. It is indeed a loss for all of us in the bar to lose the presence of His Lordship in these days of crisis, both inside and outside the court. The bar and the bench have to stand together to overcome every hurdle that this institution faces. We should not forget that this institution is built on the bedrock of democratic principles enshrined in the Constitution of India. Every syllable in our Constitution resonates. The value of protecting the democratic rights, and directly or indirectly, none of us who are part of this glorious institution should be party to any act which can result in tarnishing the image of this institution. I can vouch that His Lordship Justice Hariprasad, while debiting his office, can proudly claim that he also has played a dominant role in resolving the crisis we are presently facing during the last affairs of his tenure in this cradle of justice. Every judge belongs to the bar, and he has his roots nowhere else other than the bar. The recognition and speckless affection of the bar is the greatest asset and tribute a judge can earn for the services he rendered. After obtaining his law degree from Government Law College, Kozhikode in 1982, His Lordship got enrolled as an advocate and practiced for nearly 13 years in various courts in Malappuram district. His Lordship entered Kerala Higher Judicial Service as a district and sessions judge on 18/8/1995. His Lordship effortlessly donned the mantle of additional district and sessions judge at Palakkad, Thalassery, Ernakulam and Kozhikode before being appointed as Director of Kerala Judicial Academy and later as the Registrar Subordinate Judiciary, High Court of Kerala. He was successful in maintaining a very cordial relationship with the members of the bar. He proved his caliber as an able administrator during that period. Just before his appointment as judge of this court, His Lordship was serving as a principal district and sessions judge in Ernakulam. His Lordship gained acceptance and approval of the bar as a gentle, calm and good-natured judicial officer in all the court centres His Lordship served. I humbly assert that His Lordship Justice Hariprasad was not only a perfect gentleman, but also a committed judge who views dispensation of justice as a divine exercise. The ever-sparkling decisions he took as a judge of this honourable court has added lustre to the glory of this institution. The humane understanding of the plight of the weaker and poor sections of the society is the task of the day of the fraternity in robes. His Lordship always gave importance to decorum and discipline, which are essential to maintain the majesty of this temple of justice. His Lordship's life was a rare combination of his bent towards progressive ideology and commitment to traditional values and principles. What the members of the bar, particularly the juniors, expect from our honorable judges is a gentle and kind approach befitting the decorum and majesty of this honorable court. The caring approach His Lordship always adopted to the junior members of the bar will never be forgotten by those who were fortunate to experience and see. What we are going to miss from tomorrow is not just the presence of another judge, but the presence of a person who is the embodiment of courtesy, compassion, wisdom, and a lot more good virtues. Your Lordship's ability to ease a tense situation using gentle wit and pleasing smile will be remembered by the members of the bar forever. This day is going to be not the day of retirement for him, but only a change in the face of His Lordship's meaningful, active, and creative life. We, the members of the bar, bid your Lordship farewell and wish good health and long life to continue your valuable service to your nation. Thank you all.
Honorable Brother Justice Hariprasad, my esteemed brother and sister judges, Mr. C.P. Sudhakar Prasad, Learned Advocate General, Mr. K.K. Ravindranath and Mr. Ranjit Thamban, Learned Additional Advocate Generals, though not present here, Mr. P.K. Ramindra Menon, Senior Standing Counsel, Government of India Taxes, Mr. Suguna Balan, President of the Senior Advocates Association, Senior Advocate present here, Mr. Joseph John, Chairman Bar Council of Kerala, Mr. Vijay Kumar, Learned Assistant Solicitor General of India, Mr. Sohan, Learned State Attorney, Mr. C. Sridharan Nair, Learned Director General of Prosecutions, hoping that you would be witnessing through online, Mr. Thomas Abraham, Learned Advocate and President of the Kerala High Court Advocates Association, Srimati S.K. Devi, Learned Advocate and President of the Federation of Women Lawyers, respected senior lawyers who are witnessing this event, my dear junior lawyers, Registrar, District Judiciary and other registrars of this court, Srimati Prabha and other family members of Justice Prasad, staff of this High Court, members of the Clerks Association, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to all. After a period of more than 25 years of distinguished and devoted service to the justice delivery system, both in the district judiciary and this court, today, Honorable Justice Hariprasad is demitting his office on attaining superannuation, and therefore we have assembled here to bid an affectionate farewell to one of our esteemed judges, Justice Hariprasad. After obtaining a law degree from Government Law College, Kozhikode, with second rank, Justice Hariprasad enrolled as an advocate in the year 1983 and started legal practice at Tirur in Malappuram district under the guidance of his uncle and senior, late A. Vijayaraghava Variyar. Justice Prasad had an illustrious practice for about 13 years in various courts in Malappuram district. In 1995, he was recruited as district and sessions judge to the Kerala Higher Judicial Service and served as additional and sessions judge at Thalassery, Ernakulam and Kozhikode. Later, he was appointed as director of Kerala Judicial Academy on 2/12/2004. Appointed as Registrar District Judiciary on 1/6/2020 and served as Principal District and Session Judge, Ernakulam, from 19/4/2012 till his elevation as a judge of this court. Justice Prasad was elevated to the bench of this court as an additional judge on 28/1/2013, made permanent on 30th June 2014. As a judge of this court for more than 8 years, he has disposed of 8,044 single bench cases, 2,583 division bench cases, 16 cases full bench, and 11 larger bench cases, totaling 10,654 cases. In my career as judge here, I have seen Justice Prasad has dealt with cases in almost all branches of law, writ, civil, criminal, labor, etc., though he had come from the district judiciary. The justice has delivered many landmark judgments on various subjects. Learned Advocate General was referring to a decision in the matter relating to the perfunctory investigation and acquittal, and as to how the bench considered the matter dealing with all the powers of the appellate court under Section 386 and other provisions of the code, and remanded the matter to the trial court for fresh consideration, also permitting both sides, prosecution as well as defense, to adduce evidence, oral and documentary, to come to the truth in the case. In the same judgment, the Honorable Bench presided over by Justice Prasad also directed the Kerala Judicial Academy to periodically arrange special training programs for the additional session judges handling POCSO cases in order to guide and to sensitize them on the legal, social, and psychological aspects involved in such cases. I should say at this juncture, the Honorable Bench presided over by Justice Prasad did not leave even the judicial officer. He found fault that there is a lack of involvement by the learned trial judge, which resulted in injustice and consequential unmerited acquittals of the accused. This is a very great quality of a judge to find the truth in the prosecution and enable access to justice to both defense and prosecution. In yet another case, Vijesh Kumar M. and others versus State of Kerala and others, the Honorable Full Bench, headed by Justice Hariprasad, considered the legal implications of certain provisions in Guruvayur Devasam Act 1978, especially Sections 27, which is essential to determine the correctness and legality of the decision taken by Guruvayur Devasam Committee to donate a certain sum of money to the Honorable Chief Minister's Distress Relief Fund. After traversing through various provisions of the Guruvayur Devasam Act, the Honorable Full Bench, presided over by Justice Prasad, held that authorities under the Act cannot part with Devasam funds to the Honorable Chief Minister's Distress Relief Fund to any other government agency. I can quote many decisions of Brother Justice Prasad, but I will restrict myself to yet another important decision rendered by the Honorable Full Bench, presided over by Justice Prasad. In Rajan versus Biju and others, reported in 2017, 2 KLT 976, the bench considered the question as to whether the legal heirs or the legal representatives are eligible to file application for compensation for death under Section 163A of the Motor Vehicles Act 1988. There was a conflict of decisions rendered by co-equal benches and thus reference to the full bench. After going through the provisions of the Motor Vehicles Act and a thorough examinations of various decisions of the Honorable Supreme Court, the Honorable Full Bench, presided over by Justice Prasad, held that in a claim under Section 163A of the Motor Vehicles Act, dependency has no relevancy. This is very, very important, because as regards a claim of a legal heir or the legal representatives, which is the criteria, which is the factor to be taken into consideration, Justice Prasad held that dependency has no relevancy because persons eligible to file application for compensation for death or the legal heirs and not the legal representatives. On the judicial side, I can say so many judgments, but I will come back to his functions on the administrative side. Justice Prasad has been functioning as the chairman of the High Court Legal Services Committee from June 2020 onwards. Justice Hariprasad has a rare distinction of serving the Kerala Judicial Academy as his director and now heads the board of directors as his president. As director of Kerala Judicial Academy for a fairly long tenure, Brother Justice Prasad had imparted training to a large number of judicial officers of the district at various levels, substantially contributed to shaping and enhancing the skills of the judicial officers, competence, and resultantly, I would say, the entire Kerala judiciary also. His deep knowledge in different branches of law, substantial and procedural, coupled with his innate forensic wisdom, has immensely benefited the legal fraternity. On the administrative side, Justice Prasad has served as chairman of the committee for arrears of subordinate courts and service matters for ministerial staff, committee for maintenance and upkeep of High Court Guest House and Lyceum. He was also a member of several other committees, such as Administrative Committee, High Court Building and Judges Quarters Committee, High Court Library Committee, Committee for Framing High Court Rules, High Court Service Rules, District Magistrates Recruitment Committee, Rule Committee under Section 123. During my tenure, I would say, there has been so many, selection process, interviews conducted, etc. Whenever I make a request to Justice Prasad to kindly look into the aspects relating to the mechanism as to how a person should be selected to the judiciary, he would readily agree and spend hours and hours for preparation of the question papers, answer papers, and then I should, personally speaking, express my deep gratitude to Honorable Justice Hariprasad for his excellent services in all the administrative committees, in all the committees which he was heading. Justice Prasad has helped me a lot by actively participating and giving practical and fruitful suggestions in all the subjects deliberated by the Administrative Committee. As referred to by the learned President of the Advocate Association, even yesterday's meeting, I think Justice Prasad was contributing as to how this crisis has to be sorted out. Since he has served as a director of the Kerala Judicial Academy and Registrar District Judiciary, with his personal acquaintance with almost all the officers in the state, I can see his concern for the judicial officers and the officers in the matter of transfer and postings. In all his cases, he would take pains to read the reasons for transfer, and every decision and suggestion is with empathy, considering the genuine cases of the judicial officers. Personally, I have received a very, very valuable assistance, and I should say by his wise counsel, because he is elder to me and he is always right in dealing with the administrative matters. And I'm sure that Brother Justice Hariprasad would advise me in future also whenever I request him to do it. As a person, he's got excellent pleasing manners with very amiable nature, affordable disposition. And I'm sure that the fraternity and in particular judiciary would be enriched further by his erudite discourses in future also. On this occasion, one should always think about the spouse. My sincere regards and respect to Madam Srimati Prabha, wife of Honorable Justice Prasad, and other family members, and all those who are associated with him all along in discharging his duties as judge, and he would continue to discharge his duties elsewhere in some other capacity after retirement. On behalf of my sisters and brothers on the bench, and on my own behalf, I extend our sincere gratitude for your assistance, sir, and convey our best wishes for your continued good health and peaceful long life. Before concluding, I may be permitted to quote the words of Mahatma Gandhi. There are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you are, you will be always in my heart. Thank you.
Pranamam, the Supreme Consciousness and the Supreme Being. Honorable the Chief Justice, Mr. Justice S. Manikumar, my esteemed brother and sister judges, Shri C.P. Hariprasad, Learned Advocate General, Shri Thomas Abraham, President Kerala High Court Advocates Association, Shri Joseph John, Chairman, Bar Council of Kerala, learned law officers of the Union and State Governments, learned senior and future senior members of the Bar, Registrar General, Registrar District Judiciary and other registrars, dear staff members, advocate clerks, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely thank Honorable the Chief Justice, Learned Advocate General and the President Kerala High Court Advocates Association for their kind words of appreciation. I prostrate with fond memories of my parents, late T.U. Uni and Shri A. Narayani Varisya, who always blessed me and my family from their heavenly abode. While whole life I am indebted to them for my body, mind and intellect. Elder sister Srimati Kumari Aravindan is my only sibling. I respectfully bow before her. With utmost respect, I bow before all my gurus, starting from the personage who initiated me to the world of letters and words, and all the teachers who imparted knowledge to me in schools and colleges. Reverently, I genuflect before the memories of my preceptor, nay, Acharya, in the legal profession, my maternal uncle, late Advocate A. Vijayaraghava Warrior. This day brings down the curtain of my judgeship, spanning over 25 years and 9 months. As in the past, one more phase in my life ends today. After ending the most enjoyable school and college lives, I avidly joined the legal profession, conscious of the fact that transitions in life are to be age appropriate. For the same reason, I should be welcoming this phase change too. Except for a few pangs, in retrospect, I remain quite happy and contented. This being the last occasion for me as a judge to communicate to all the stakeholders, please bear with me if I am a bit long. At the outset, I may add a caveat that repeated use of the pronoun I hereafter shall not be mistaken for branding me as an egoist or a narcissist. Just like any other human being, I too can perceive and feel this world only through my sensory organs. Awareness of one's existence, therefore, becomes essential. Indisputably, in this mundane existence, self-consciousness to a permitted limit is essential for discharging one's own dharma. After serving this great institution for about 7 years on deputation, I stepped out as District Judge Ernakulam, and the hiatus was for about 9 months only. Thereafter, I stepped into this Aegeo Paris to take oath with a mixed feeling of ecstasy and trepidation. I was ecstatic because I was ascending to the pinnacle of my career. I was trepidatious because I was fully aware that judgeship is a Himalayan task. Although this environment was familiar to me because of the long-term acquaintance in different capacities, I had a strange inner feeling when I set my foot to take oath. It could be because earlier I had heard husky voices in the corridors that service judges as a class were not broad-minded and relief-oriented. I was apprehensive about my ability to perform up to the expectation of the stakeholders. Nevertheless, a judge doling out reliefs without any legal substance was never an iconic figure to me. I was always believed that an ideal judge is one who grants reliefs to a legally deserving litigant, unmindful of the faces appearing before him and without any lust for publicity. Earlier, thirst to grab media attention was a disease confined to a few in the judiciary. Of late, it started inching towards the level of an epidemic. A conscientious judge's only concern must be the facts discernible from the records, the law applicable to the set of facts, and the justice that could be done to the parties before him. Throughout my career as a district judge and as a judge of this court, I earnestly tried to follow these principles religiously. Short time after assumption of judgeship, I realized that merit and suitability of the selectee are the important factors and not the source of elevation. All the major events in my life were fortuitous. After completing BSc degree in chemistry with a reasonably good score, like my peers, I also wished to pursue either engineering or postgraduate studies. At that time, my uncle, who was a second generation lawyer himself, suggested to my parents to send me for law study. He inherited a law chamber from his maternal uncle, and therefore he thought he should pass on the heirloom matrilineally to me. As decided by my parents and elders, I joined Government Law College, Kozhikode, and passed out in 1982 with second rank in Calicut University. Based on my academic credentials, at the aegis of the Bar Council of India Trust, I was selected for a placement as an apprentice in a leading law chamber at New Delhi for 6 months, with no assurance of absorption there. When this was brought to notice of my guru, he dissuaded me and said that only prodigies could learn law within 6 months. On an introspection, I realized that I did not belong to that category. So I decided to join his chamber without any delay. After enrolling on 8/1/83, I started practice. My grand uncle, late A. Shankunni Warrior, the proud father of an illustrious son, late Senior Advocate T.R.G. Warrior, established the law chamber at Tirur in 1921, which was inherited by my uncle in 1954. Lo and behold, my entry into legal profession was purely accidental. For my guru, legal profession was not a livelihood, but a passion and life's purpose. Normal working hours of his chamber started at 8:30 a.m. and went on till midnight on any working day. Weekends, including Sundays, were equally lengthy. Erudition, hard work, commitment to the client's cause, honesty, and respect to the court are the qualities which earned him a good reputation as a Malabar lawyer. Truly speaking, as a fledgling, I did not relish the pattern of work and lifestyle in which I was placed. I had no other option but to follow his work schedule, as I was then staying with him. For the first years of my professional life was virtually a Gurukulam style. I was literally an amanuensis, writing down plains, written statements, appeal memoranda, etc. Initial boredom gradually faded out, and I started enjoying my work. In retrospect, I realized that it was really a beneficial mentoring. After a couple of years, he prodded me to conduct cases independently. None of his juniors, including Senior Advocate Sri T. Krishnanunni, was ever spoon-fed by him. He used to give guidance in cases of any difficulty. We, his juniors, closely watched his lawyering skills as trial and appellate lawyer. In all the fields like settling the pleadings, witness examination, and final arguments, literally he was worthy of emulation. By passage of time, my confidential level grew up. At the time when I was selected as district judge in the year 1995, by all means I was virtually running the show, as my guru had become very selective. True, I had tremendous support from my brother-like juniors. In material terms, district judgeship really costed me. Besides a sharp decline in the income, I sacrificed a definite opportunity to inherit to a 75 years old law chamber. That apart, my family experienced dislodgements on account of frequent transfers to various places. Yet, judgeship was altogether a different experience for me. Shortly, I realized that the esteem, pleasure, and satisfaction that I derived as a judge was much greater than the tangible losses. It was really a godsend opportunity for doing good. All throughout my life, I am deeply indebted to my wife, my dearest wife Prabha, and children Vishnu and Swathi. They always stood steadfast beside me during the oddities and turbulences in my life. His great boon to me is my family. Their affection, care, and motivation always helped me to tide over trials and tribulations in my life. Frequent transfers affecting the studies of my children and deep decline in the inflow of money were the initial problems. Yet my beloved wife managed the household in a calm and composed manner. My family slipped into a reclusive way of life without any demur. I deeply beholden for their love, affection, care, and concern. Their positive attitude and understanding motivated me to do my functions with utmost devotion. By God's grace, my children, after their studies, are now well placed in life. Our family grew up when Ajit and Nidhi became part of our lives through marriage, and they are our priceless divine gifts. My wife and myself are blessed at present with a grandchild, Dhananjay. After serving the district judiciary for an unusually long 17 and a half years, I was elevated to the bench of this court. I thank the esteemed members of the committee constituted in 1994 for district judge selection for selecting me. I also thank the learned judges who comprise the collegium of this court and the Supreme Court for bestowing on me this august office. Without an iota of self-deception, I can assert that I always try to adhere to the highest legal and moral standards set for judgeship. I must have committed mistakes, but they could only be bona fide mistakes. I believe making innocent mistakes is better than faking perfection. I thank all the Honorable Chief Justices and my esteemed brother and sister judges, past and present, with whom I have had the good fortune to work. I gratefully remember the plentiful support and encouragement from all the Honorable Chief Justices who gave me sufficient exposure to various jurisdictions and also to a lot of administrative functions. I was fortunate to be part of larger benches, full benches and division benches where I received immeasurable support from the present and former judges. With the highest sense of gratitude, I acknowledge the contributions made by the learned members of my parent bar, namely Bar Association Tirur, in shaping up my career as a lawyer. Members of the bar at various district centers where I had worked were also extremely good to me. Truly speaking, on a daily basis, I must have learned at least one new legal proposition from this court. Learned members, both seniors and juniors, of the Kerala High Court Advocates Association have given me tremendous exposure and insight to various legal aspects involved in matters boarded before me. Except some specialized subjects like tax and service law, I have independently handled multifarious jurisdictions. I am deeply indebted to the learned members of the High Court Bar for enlightening me on various legal aspects. I express profound thanks to the entire lawyer community for giving me enormous opportunities to resolve various intricate legal questions. Being a third-generation lawyer, I have a huge stake in the profession, and therefore I used to exhort the young members to maintain high ethical and professional standards. Experiences in my life, especially those gathered by the existence in the judicial justice delivery system for more than a quarter of a century, have given me enough opportunities to learn some useful lessons in life. I have gained sufficient experience to distinguish between what is shadow and what is substance. I do not intend to indulge in a didactic lecture. I am not venturing to give any unsolicited advice to you, but I wish to share a few thoughts with you. I am proud to be identified with the district judiciary. I was a lawyer at that level. My debut in the judicial service as a district judge gave me a lot of avenues to learn the fundamentals of various branches of law. District judiciary is the backbone of the justice delivery system. I myself have heard many a time some of the Honorable Chief Justices of India praising the district judiciary of our state. In this context, I remind everyone concerned that the good reputation and reliability of the judiciary could never be a freebie extended on a platter. It is the outcome of the committed and selfless hard work by generation of judges for decades together. It must be remembered that they had actually spent their whole lives on building up the judicial institutions, undeterred by the frugal pay and perquisites that they had received. They were really indefatigable crusaders for the cause of justice because they had realized that the judiciary is the only hope for a common man hanging on a slender thread over a bottomless abyss. We, the present generation of judges at all levels, are actually thriving on the goodwill and reputation so earned by them on account of their devotion and sacrifice. I firmly believe that it is our unshirkable responsibility to keep up the glory and credibility of the justice delivery system. I am proud that majority of the members of the district judiciary are honest, sincere and hardworking. A few black sheep are bound to exist in every system. It is the bounden duty of this court to protect and support the honest and hardworking judicial officers, and also to deal with the dishonest, ignoble, indisciplined and lazy officers in an appropriate manner. After doing inexpiable misdeeds, if anyone condescends before the persons in authority, in my view, he or she cannot be shown any leniency. Weeding out a deadwood from the system is an inescapable responsibility of the administrative setup of this court. Those who lead public life are liable to be criticized for their actions. In a democratic setup, the people have every right to express their opinions. Judges are not insulated from criticisms. No one should grudge or become intolerant for being criticized for a genuine reason. I would prefer to qualify such criticisms as dharmic because they are generally made with good intentions. It can be termed as constructive criticisms as well, but then the critic must act or speak out with modesty and civility. Choice of words must be commensurate to the critic's stature in the society. We usually come across most unkind and uncharitable criticisms against public servants, including judges. Many a time, such criticisms are ill-motivated, wicked, or arrogant. Critics can be from within or outside the system. They may use foul languages or even take out names to the public domain. Such criticisms are made with no intention of improving any system or any individual, but with an intention to spoil or damage someone's reputation or that of the system itself. Such criticisms are to be ignored as they are nothing but a bunch of abusive words without any meaning or purpose. It simply reflects the mindset of the abuser. I would prefer to qualify such criticisms as adharmic or destructive criticisms. If one carefully scrutinizes the background of such abusers, it can very well be seen that they are either excessively conceited or living in a sense of grandeur. Abusers of that kind shall not make any public servant careworn and shall not push him to a chastened mood. Always remember Buddha's saying, whoever tries to bring you down is already below you. Whenever I address the judicial officers in training sessions, I used to make them aware of the importance of marshalling the facts in a case properly and applying the correct legal principles, both statutory and precedential law, to the facts in the case. As early as in 1901, Lord Halsbury in Quinn versus Leatham vividly set out the precedential law principles that every judgment must be read as applicable to the particular facts proved or assumed to be proved in it. This is a locus classicus followed by the Supreme Court in a catena of decisions. It is therefore clear that the precedential law principles are no way tyrannical in nature, and no one can insist that it should be applied for salvaging a case barred by any law. Instances of violating these unchallengeable legal principles are not rare. I request the esteemed members of the district judiciary to work hard to equip themselves for effectively discharging their functions. I have been in this institution for more than 16 years in various capacities. I have received immense help and cooperation from all the staff members, past and present, of this court, irrespective of their ranks. I should be thankful to each one of them for helping me to discharge my judicial and administrative functions. All the former registrars general and the present incumbent Srimati Sophie Thomas have helped me a lot. Thanks to all of them. Likewise, the former registrar subordinate judiciary, now rechristened as registrar district judiciary, have also extended great amount of cooperation and help to me on various occasions. Shri P.G. Ajit Kumar, present registrar district judiciary, was always of immense help to me in my judicial and administrative functions. I express deep gratitude to him. Shri K.P. Sudhir, registrar vigilance, Shri Matthews K. Nelliveli, registrar finance, Shri A.V. Pradeep Kumar, registrar administration, Srimati Anida, registrar judicial, and all other registrars deserve a special mention because all of them have supported me to a great extent. My profound thanks to all. I'll be failing in my duty if I do not express my unalloyed gratitude to the public relations officer and protocol officer and their teams. Shri T.S. Arun, public relations officer, and his team, including Srimati Vijayakumari Amma, the former additional public relations officer, and Shri Amritraj, the present incumbent, have rendered immeasurable help and support to me. Shri S. Srikumar, the former protocol officer, Shri R. Ashok, the present incumbent, and his team are highly professional and talented. They have graciously rendered help and cooperation to me all throughout my stint. My hearty thanks to all of them. Srimati Deepa V. Chief Librarian has been very helpful to me in the legal research for finding suitable authorities. I thank her for all the help. Shri P.C. Srikumar, Assistant Engineer Electrical, and his team have also rendered immense help to me. I thank them for the services rendered. I thank Shri K.C. Srinivas, Superintendent Vehicles, Shaju K. Varghese, Security Officer, and all other officers working in the High Court. Thanks are due to Dr. Kishore and his team in the High Court Dispensary. I am unable to mention all the names of those who have helped me because of the time constraint. I certainly greatly value their services. I am fortunate to have a long-standing association with Kerala Judicial Academy as its director and later as a member of the Board of Governors. Of late, at the instance of the Honorable the Chief Justice and my esteemed brother Justice K. Vinod Chandran, I have taken up the presidentship of the Academy. Judicial Academy is a place where I wish to spend quality time even after my retirement because I have been greatly benefited by associating with it. I thank Mr. Justice K.T. Shankaran and Mr. Justice A.M. Babu, the former and present directors academics, for their valuable support. I thank Sri K. Satyan, Director of the Academy, for the help done to me on various occasions. Srimati C.S. Sudha, Additional Director, Sri Krishna Kumar, Deputy Director, Sri John Varghese, Assistant Director, have also helped me in the legal researches. Thanks to all of them. I thank all the former directors also. Efficiency of the personal staff members will always be a shot in the arm of a judge. I am really fortunate to have a good team working with me. Srimati Sheila, my private secretary, and Srimati Smita Mol, my court officer, have rendered excellent support and cooperation to me. They are committed and hardworking employees. Their performance throughout my career was outstanding. Similarly, Srimati Anisha, my personal assistant, Sri Anil Kumar and Sri Krishna Kumar, my office attendants, are also very dutiful and hardworking. I express sincere thanks to all for the immense help given to me. My research assistant, Srimati Shruti KK, is devoted to her assignment. She has rendered appreciable help to me in legal research. I wholeheartedly thank her. My chauffeur, Sri Girish Raj, started serving me in 2004 when I joined the High Court service on deputation. From then onwards, he is attached to me. His performance as a chauffeur is commendable. He never caused me to wait for a second, as he is always very punctual and dutiful. In fact, my family members too have received his excellent services. All of us are grateful to him. Shri Vivek and Shri Deepu are the office attendants working in my house. They are very sincere and committed workers. Their services are excellent. Shri Joseph, the former office attendant, had also rendered good services to me. Srimati Suja, the housemaid, has also served us exceedingly well. I profusely thank them for their invaluable services. Shri Jitesh, Shri Madhu, Shri Manoj, Shri Rafiq and Shri Shyam worked as police security officers. All of them were very helpful and protective. I gratefully remember their services and thank them. I must acknowledge that many other staff members must have helped me in different ways during my service. I thank each one of them. I remember a famous saying that each one of us shall try to be the reason for someone to believe in the goodness of people. God willing, I would like to serve humanity in my own humble way till the end of my life. Reverting back to the legal profession is my natural choice. My ardent prayer to the Almighty is to give me ability and strength to do good till the end. During this turbulent period of COVID-19 pandemic, I pray that everyone stay safe and blessed. It is time for me to bow out. Once again, thanks to all. Jai Hind.